So Chris Chan made his triumphant return to live streaming the other week in what can only be described as a disaster stream. There's no other way to cut this. Chris went live, he was just playing Minecraft, and the sound, ladies and gentlemen, the sound was just abysmal the entire time. Now listen, I know I'm not the one to talk about good audio, but when Chris is sitting here and the Minecraft music volume is blaring over the speakers much louder than Chris's own voice, and the chat is telling him this for the entirety of his 3-hour stream, and he just sits there and acts like they're all fucking with him, it's a terrible listen. It really is. But I went through and picked the very few and far between funny parts out of it, and then I'm going to show you just how terrible it sounded at its worst. And then also, we got to talk about Chris and Flutter, or Egg, or Cabbage Patch, whatever you want to call her. Chris was spotted again with his prospective love interest, the person that everybody thinks he's been with the past few months. Now, they're only spotted every so often out in public, and there's been a lot of speculation that she may not even live in the same state as Chris, but we'll get to that when we get to that. First, I want to show you this Minecraft stream we've been watching this entire video so far. It is, again, just one of the worst live streams I've ever seen. Chris seemingly did this just because he had to. He hadn't gone live in a while, and when he does go live, it seems like it's to maybe get a few donations and then to move on with his day. It's never like something that you can tell Chris is like hankering to do. Like, he's so excited for this live stream, he's sweating, he's nervous, and he's just trying to get this thing done with. Now, while playing a game like Minecraft that allows him to just walk around, kind of just turn his brain off and look at things he previously built in the past, this was probably easier for him to do and made it so that he could stay on there longer. But had he just been sitting there reading the chat the whole time, this man would have been done the stream like 2 hours before it ended. So basically what he's doing here is going through and looking at his old Minecraft world from a few years back. Now what's funny is he built this before he went to jail, so this is like, it's been a few years in the making for Chris to get back on this Minecraft world. And so again, he goes live and he's just dicking around in this Minecraft world. He has a house built in the Nether. That's different. I personally never did that back when I played Minecraft as a kid, but I'm not Christian. I remember having bases there, but a full-on house? No. You know what? Chris actually might be in the right here. See, I haven't played Minecraft since it first came out on the Xbox 360 years ago. I was never a PC player or anything like that, so if I get anything wrong in this video regarding Minecraft, just chalk it up to ignorance, because really, I tried it for a little bit like a year or two ago, and it was just so much more confusing than I remember it. Like what is that? Like, how did Chris just throw a fireball at that big doofy-looking ghost? Look, I digress. Let's get back to the topic at hand. This live stream sucked. It was the drizzling shits. And do I really expect much out of a Chris Chan live stream? No, not at all. We know how these go. But to me, somebody who's watched Chris for like a fair bit of years now, I can find some entertainment in his more recent live streams. I know they suck. I know they're terrible. But sometimes just watching him get completely thrown off by the chat, the way he reacts to people, even people asking him just simple questions, will never not be entertaining to me. But this live stream really didn't have much of any of that. So I'll show you a few of the highlights, or just like, what could be considered highlights of this stream, and we'll go from there.
VC, I got like 50 of them. And then I ended up, long time ago, I made this contraption. I forget what it does. If anybody wants to, give me a pay comment, tell me what this thing is. That's a more than welcome bit of help right there. I think it's like I dropped something up in here. I think this lovely thing was talked about within the books I had. There was a Scholastic Publishing.
That is literally classic Chris Chan. Wondering what he built years ago. He can't even figure out what his own creation is. So he asked the chat for help. But not just anyone in chat. If anyone can send a paid explanation of what I built all these years ago, that'd be much appreciated. That'd be a big help. Just what a dick move of a thing to say. Like, hey, some people might know what this is. I don't give a shit enough to look over at chat. Send me a donation. I think he's just looking for a reason to fish him. Chris isn't the most clever guy, but maybe a little light bulb sparked in his head, and he was like, oh, I'm pretty confused right now. If someone could maybe pay and send me this, I would know what it is. I don't know what that thing in the sky was right there. Was that supposed to be Pikachu? It didn't look like Pikachu, but it could have been Pikachu. I don't know. I'm really toasted right now. Listen, the fact of the matter is this. Chris, he's the worst live streamer in the world. And again, maybe somebody like me who's like never been the best live streamer in the world is not eligible to say this. However, I feel like even if you've never live streamed ever, you could see how terrible Chris is at this. He doesn't ever look at the chat. He doesn't do any of this shit. And it's not like the chat is moving so fast that he can't. There's like 200 people watching, and most of them are actually just asking questions. I know, again, I brought up how Chris gets like overwhelmed and flustered by the chat, but really, if he just did a stream sitting here talking to people, I bet you tons of motherfuckers would go in and sit here for the entire thing. But he just wants to sit here, play around on Minecraft, and wait for people to throw $2 to $5 at him to leave him a backhanded compliment. You know, these streams could be gold. And I feel like a lot of people expected them to when he got out of jail. Because, like, go back a year and a half, right, to when Chris first got out. If you were to tell me or anybody who was following this story that, hey, in about a year's time, Chris will be back to live streaming. He'll be just on a new channel being wrangled by the Praetor. Oh, and also he'll be getting donos thrown at him that really make him confused. And it'll be like a stress sci fiesta. I would have been so excited. Like, oh, man, it sounds like it'll be some pretty funny shit. But it hasn't been. This has been lame since Chris got out. And you might be asking, Smokey, what do you expect? Like, what do you want here? Do you want Chris just to be freaking out on live streams all day? Yeah, yeah, it's better than fucking Minecraft. Like, listen, I don't want to see Chris just screaming, freaking out, getting treated like he did when the idea guys were around. But I'm sorry, a flustered Chris Chan stream where he can't handle donations coming in is so much better than at least this bullshit. Whatever, let's go to the next clip where Chris Chan sees a squid in the water.
Squidward. There's a reference. Squidward. Squidward. SpongeBob, what are you fucking up to this time? Oh well, just doing it. They call him Flipper, Flipper. Some perfect stranger, some rat, and luckily man. It's like I don't do too many shoutouts, especially to those I don't know who they are, for risk of just like I might just say something wrong, and I don't want to be one that does that.
You know, I'll give Chris this one. It's probably not a good idea to give a shout out to literally everyone who donates to you, especially when the person asking is named Cumbeast9000. But it's not just Beastie Boy asking for a shout out. I mean, look at the other name down there. Terry Davis is apparently asking Chris for some love. If you don't know who that is, look him up. Rest in peace, Terry Davis. And then out of nowhere, Cyrax sends in a $2 donation telling Chris that he hopes all is well. So, I mean, all the homies are out and about tonight. You know, Cumbeast, Cyrax, Terry fucking Davis. But these streams, like I said, when you see the absurdity of them sometimes, that's the funny part of it. That's the part that can get me to chuckle. But really, again, it's just Chris sitting here doing his like inane like noises he makes whenever he's kind of confused and no donations are coming in. But I'll tell you this much, it's good right now. There's not really music blaring. You can just, if you were just sitting here watching this, yeah, it's boring, but it's not annoying yet. But it wouldn't take long for that to be the case. I'm going to come back in about 2 to 3 days and look at the analytics of this video and see how many of you drop off over the next minute or so. Because I'm just playing it out. We're not even going to cut it. I'm just going to show you how Chris's stream sounded like for the majority of the 3 hours.
Another time, we'll get that message shortly enough on the iPad. I know, message delay. Well, can't be helped right now. There's a technical difficulty. But yeah, old file. We did update it, obviously, for Bedrock. We're playing off of Bedrock. This is really good. I like Bedrock. You can do, I mean, everybody that's I'm able to enlist to help me, just update this further, make it better. It's playable too. The Bedrock, they're playable on game consoles, the modern day consoles. If you don't have a console, you don't have Bedrock, well, that might be a little bit ad hoc. I have tried between both. So I feel better with Bedrock. Anyway, so we're going to one distant village. It's like essentially the first distant village I found when I started. But yeah, just back in Java, this thing was like a whole bunch of sand that stretched to the north, but then with the update to the software that was used, look, we got some chopped. Now we got some ocean biome. Feel ocean biome, Minecraft. Here we are. So yeah, definitely the way. This is the floor that goes to. It's just the floor closest to the house. Windows, cobblestone. No flames of a gas will be able to penetrate these stones. And a button door for in case those suddenly become smart big people decide they want to just put mine in. Nope. I put another portal down there, down that hill.
So again, it is important to mention that people were saying for the entire 3 hours the stream went on for Chris to lower the volume, and he just ignored them the entire time. Now, there is a reason for this. Most of the time, this entire chat room is just telling Chris, your audio's muted, fix the audio, and a lot of times it catches him, even if the audio is fine, they troll him into believing it. But this time, the chat cried wolf too many times, and now they had to deal with this incredibly loud Minecraft music stream. Now, this took place again for like 3 hours. I'm not going to sit here and show you guys an entire recap of all this because I couldn't even get through like an hour myself. This was just the worst, again, as you can see in the title. And I hope Chris doesn't do more streams like this, but honestly, I don't really foresee him doing more streams at all. This was his first one in months, and he really hasn't been active on the internet since this, and this was already like almost 2 weeks ago. So if anything new happens with Chris, I'll be sure to update you guys on that, but we're not over just yet, because as I said earlier, we need to talk about these new pictures that got leaked, because it's not just one, there's 2 of these sightings. It's more of these Chris cryptid Bigfoot sightings where he's spotted with old Flutter. Flutter being the woman that he keeps being sighted with over the past few months. Some think she's a girlfriend, others are convinced she's just a friend, maybe another wrangler, another part of the Praetor, but nobody knows for sure. And another thing that nobody seems to know is still exactly what this woman looks like, because we've seen some pictures where like we're pretty sure you can make out what she looks like. Some people are confused though whether she's like a young girl or an older woman, but she's very good at keeping her face off of the camera. But here in this picture, she was spotted out with Chris at somewhere. It looks like a restaurant. I'm not entirely sure where this is. I just know that somebody on Reddit posted it. But again, it's just another one of these many sightings. And before, it had been reported that Chris was going to airports, either picking somebody up or taking a flight himself. And it's been like theorized most of the time that it's going to see Flutter. And nobody knows exactly where this woman is, but Chris has been with her for like a pretty striking amount of time. Every time he's at like a convention, she's there with him. Every time he's really spotted out in public recently, she's there with him. He seems to stay behind closed doors most of the time, because yes, people do spot Chris in public every now and again and it's only him by himself, but most of the time I've seen these pictures come out, this woman is in the pictures with him. So maybe it's like the one thing that gets him out of the house. Who knows? Maybe that's the thing. She's hired by the Praetor to be the one thing to get Chris out of the house like every weekend or something, or at least every other weekend, maybe one weekend a month. But whatever this woman is, she knows, I feel like deep down, she knows what she's getting into with Chris Chan, and that's why she goes to such like levels to not have her face sighted. Do I think they're seeing all these people who are taking pictures of them? No. But is this woman just naturally good at staying out of like the public view and even the view of random people taking cameras? I guess so, because you'd think, right? You'd think with all the eyes that have always been on Chris Chan, people would know exactly who this woman is, but still months later, no idea. And honestly, I've always fallen along the belief that you shouldn't be going after people just because they associate with someone like Chris Chan. Just to leave this woman out of it, but one of these days we are bound to find out who this is. But they were then spotted yet again out front of like a grocery store putting stuff in the car, and yet again, all you can make out is like the top of her head. So whoever's taking these pictures, it's always different people, at least I assume so. I'm actually 99% positive of that. Again, no one can just get a good picture of this woman. I don't know if that means everybody else is like inept in their picture taking abilities, or this woman's just like the greatest, the greatest master of disguise, or whatever you want to call it, of all time. I mean, yeah, she's not in disguise, but you're just not getting to see a clear picture of her. And again, she probably knows what she's getting into with Chris, so she's laying low like that. But this is what he's been up to now. And again, the question then becomes, is this his girlfriend? Is it just a friend? I personally deep down believe it's just a friend. One of the last times they were spotted together, Chris went live afterwards and talked about how much the friend zone sucks. And yeah, that's just speculation on my part, but I think that says a lot more than you'd think if Chris is just going to randomly be dropping lines like that, since when has he ever talked about the friend zone and everything? So he's probably still chilling with her, hoping that a relationship will form, because Chris has always been like that. Think of the Megan Schroeder situation. Even when she said she had no feelings for Chris, that doesn't stop him. He'll still go out there and still try to really wow this woman. And maybe that's what's going on here. But again, it's all speculation that we won't know until Chris comes forward, this woman comes forward, maybe someone in the Prater comes forward. And honestly, it only feels like a matter of time. But until that day comes, we'll have to see what happens with the story of Chris Chan. But it's not like it's ever going to get any less interesting. I mean, yeah, we're at a point right now where damn near nobody cares about Chris's story. I know a lot of you guys watch these videos interested to see the next thing Chris does, but it has been boring lately if you are someone who considers yourself like a follower of Christery, you know? I've always hated saying that, but it's the truth, you know? At least in my case, I've made like 100 videos on the guy, and still, I can't make heads or tails of this entire situation. Like, just a few weeks ago, we were talking about his return to Branchland. Like, that's still something I feel like needs to be answered. How often is he going back there, if at all? You know, we haven't seen any pictures of him back there, but that doesn't mean he's going there. However, I feel like, you know, maybe if he was, people would spot it. So that's what gives me the hope that he's not. And then with this situation, I don't know, man. Does Chris Chan have a girlfriend? Probably not. It's probably just an actual friend of his or a buddy troll. But again, when anything comes out about this, if any news ever breaks about this, you know we'll be right on top of it. But I felt like I need to give you guys your monthly Chris Chan update. So here it was, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until the next time, I'm going to get out of here, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. It's the middle of the summer, ladies and gentlemen. The weather may be hot, but I tell you what, you get out there, you have a good time, and you enjoy this shit, man, because once it gets like cold again, or once the weather ain't so nice, you're gonna be kicking yourself that you didn't get out there. So go out, have a good time, and have a great summer, y'all. And until the next one, I will see y'all. Stay safe, and I'll catch y'all then. Have a good time, everybody.